Hello again, Latin students. Today we're going to be talking about how to conjugate verbs in the perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect tenses. You should have with you your blue chart where we have recorded all of the tense endings for the perfect system. And also having your green chart available where we have yet to fill in how to deal with the perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect tense. But we'll do that later today. I want to talk first of all about the system for, or the procedure I should say, not system, the procedure for conjugating verbs in the perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect tense. You'll notice that there is a small box on the bottom of the paper where the blue chart is in the left corner that is labeled Perfect System Conjugating Procedure. You should notice that there are two procedures listed right there, which are the steps for conjugating all verbs in the perfect system. The first step is simply to find the base of the third principal part. And the second step is to add the endings to the base. So what makes this drastically different than the present, the imperfect, and the future tense conjugating procedures? Quite simply, there's no connecting vowel. And when you take away the connecting vowel, you take away the most challenging part of conjugating a verb. Without the connecting vowel, all you need to have is the vocabulary list in front of you. You need to understand that it is the third principal part we go to get the base. And you need to know the endings, either from memory or if you don't have them mastered, you'll need to have your blue and your green chart in front of you. Take out your green chart for a moment, and I want you to look at the green chart on the bottom below the chart. Should be in the same place we found this on the blue chart. You should find a small box on the bottom right corner that talks about the procedure for conjugating the irregular verb to be in the perfect system. And you should discover that there are two steps for conjugating the verb to be in the perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect tenses known as the perfect system. Do you see that those two steps are the same as the same two steps that are listed on the blue chart? What does this mean? It's a very liberating thing, that's what it is. It means that irregular verbs in Latin, when they are conjugated in the perfect system tenses, will not function differently than regular verbs. Hallelujah! No more memorization of a separate form for the verb to be for each of the new tenses that we're about to look at. All we need to remember are the principal parts of the verb to be, sumessa fui, that we get the base of the principal part, which is fu, the third principal part, fu, and that's step one, and then step two is to add the endings to the base. So if we were conjugating in the perfect tense, we would have fui, fuisti, fuit, fuimus, fuistis, and fuerunt. If we were conjugating it in the pluperfect, fueram, fueras, fuerat, fueramus, fueratis, fuerant, and so on. That's all there is to it. The verb to be able is going to function the same way. You just have to remember its third principal part, which is potui, P-O-T-U-I. The base would be P-O-T-U. And then to that base, we would add the endings for whichever tense it is that we're going to conjugate it in. If we were going to conjugate it in the future perfect tense, patuero, patueris, patuerit, patuerimus, patueritis, patuerint. Just like that. This procedure is the exact same procedure we use for any verb that we encounter in Latin. So, let's take a look at the verb amo, amara, amawi, amatum. Does it matter what conjugation is if we're conjugating it in the perfect tense? It does not matter. All we have to do is look at the third principal part, drop the final I to get the base, and to the base we add the endings that will create whatever tense it is that we're working with. So if we're going to conjugate it in the perfect tense, we add I, isti, it, imus, istis, and erunt. If I'm going to use the verb mito, mitera, misi, misum, once again I go to the third principal part, I drop the final I to get the base, and to that base I'm going to add the endings for whatever tense I want to conjugate it in. If it's pluperfect, miseram, miseras, miserat, miseramus, miseratis, miserant. And that's simply the end of it. There is nothing more to learn. So I think that what you should do before you go to the flashcards is you should practice just a little bit with me. What I'd like you to do is grab a piece of paper or a whiteboard or something that you have handy, and we'll practice with a couple of different verbs here. So I'd like you to take the verb do, dar, dati, datum, which means to give, and I would like you to conjugate it in the perfect tense. I'll let you do that, and then in a minute or so, I will show you the answers. If you need to use your chart to look at the endings, that's fine. Remember, you don't have to think about a connecting vowel. Do your forms look like this? If you've got DAT or anything with DA, you're not using the correct principal part. Remember, we always go to the third principal part and drop the last letter I to get the base, and then we simply add the endings. Let's try another one. This time, let's use the verb pasum, passa, patui, and I would like you to conjugate it in the pluperfect tense. Pluperfect of pasum, passa, patui. I know it's an irregular verb, but remember that with an irregular verb in the perfect system, we use it exactly the same way that we use regular verbs. We get the base from the third principal part, and then we attach endings. Your answers should look like this. just like that. And finally, let's take the verb that means, I'm trying to think of a good one for you to use. Let's do facio, facere, faci, factum, which is to make or do. And let's have you conjugate this verb in the future perfect tense. We start with the base of the third principal part, and then we attach the ending. And that's all there is to it. Isn't it easy? It's so much easier when you don't have to worry about the connecting vowels. At this point, you would be ready to go into Moodle and take a look at the flashcards, which ask you to practice conjugating the verbs in the various tenses. They're also going to, that set of flashcards is also going to have you practice recognizing what tense we're dealing with, whether it's perfect, pluperfect, or future perfect, as well as provide a correct translation. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to see me in my classroom, to send me a message via the forum in the module on the perfect system, or email me your question during office hours. Hopefully, you'll be able to read stories now or soon that will contain all 6 tenses. It'll make life just a little more challenging in that department. Good luck!